I was recently chatting with my friend Conspiracy Cats, and he was telling me about his latest video, all about the total lack of research that flat earthers do. It's worth checking it out. It's being released at the same time as this video and is available up there. As part of this, he mentioned something that Flatzoid FE said, and I had a look and I thought it's worth doing a specific video about it, because I've not heard any other flat earthers make claims on this. So take it away, Flatzoid, and
roll VT.
Okay, so Flatzoid's going to show us how the Earth's core and the Earth's magnetic field fails reality. Okay, this is a diagram that I think we all know. We've got the Earth, the outer layer is the crust. There are some other layers, but we've got the upper mantle, the lower mantle, the outer core, finishing with the inner core, which is almost pure solid iron at 6,000 degrees centigrade. Okay, got that. Ah, the Curie point. Well, I presume you learnt about that by looking at Wikipedia. In physics and materials science, the Curie temperature, or Curie point, is the temperature above which certain materials lose their permanent magnetic properties. Okay, got that too. I see. So the inner core at 6,000 degrees centigrade and the outer core at 3,800 degrees centigrade, both being iron, that temperature takes it way past its Curie point, totally affecting its magnetic properties. Interesting. So how can something past its Curie point be what? How can something past its Curie point be magnetic? The problem is, Flatzoid, you think that Earth's magnetic field is supposed to be a giant one of these, but that is not how the Earth's magnetic field is formed. But I'm afraid
you just don't get it, do you? You don't.
Well, let's see if he gets it. Here is a simple diagram of the inner and the outer core. Heat from the solid inner core goes through the outer core. It rises, cools and spreads out, and then flows back down again in a cycle, transporting heat away from the hot inner core. Let's have a closer look at the boundary layer between the inner and the outer core. We can see a plume of hot material rising. More material is drawn in at the bottom from every direction. Now, the Earth is a rotating body, so as the material moves, it's affected by Coriolis, and as it's moving from a wider area to a narrower area, we have the same effect as this ice skate. As the material moves into a narrower column, a faster spin is induced, and so the rising plume is in a helix. So what we have now is very hot outer core material rising in a corkscrew away from the inner core. Now, although not strictly part of the Earth's magnetic field itself, the outer core does still have certain amounts of magnetic fields within it. So in the outer core, we've got magnetic loops and very hot streams of liquid metal rising in helices and passing through those magnetic fields. Where you have metal looping around magnetic fields, you end up with a certain amount of electrical charge. Throughout all those loops in the hot outer core, you end up with lots and lots of loops of hot streaming material, each inducing more electrical charge, until you end up with electrical charge flowing round in great big loops. And what happens when you have great big loops of electrical charge? They induce magnetic fields. Great big magnetic fields. This is how the Earth's magnetic fields come to be. Quite simply, it is not some giant bar magnet that's lost its magnetism due to reaching its Curie point. Let's check back on that Wikipedia entry. Curie temperature. In physics and material science, a Curie temperature, or Curie point, is the temperature above which certain materials lose their permanent magnetic properties, which can, in most cases, be replaced by induced magnetism. You didn't read the rest of the sentence, did you? All this talk about curries got me hungry. Hey, man preparing a madras, can you tell me, do you think that Flatzoid FE understands that Earth's magnetic field is not due to the inherent magnetism of the core, but rather it's due to a fluid magneto-hydrodynamic dynamo in the core?
Well, I don't know about that really, but I know I like fluffy little kittens.
Okay, and can I have some mango chutney with that? Meanwhile, let's see if Flatzoid's got anything else. I'm going to stop you there, Flatzoid. I've had enough of your silliness. Instead, I'm going to explain the makeup of the Earth using a new theory that I've just devised based on the Curie point. This is the traditional scientific view of the makeup of the Earth, obviously based on someone's wild-ass guess and nothing to do with the hard, painstaking work by thousands of scientists over many years conducting masses of experiments and collecting reams of data. So we're going to throw that out the window for my new theory. Welcome to the new science of culinary geology. What has previously been labelled as the inner core at 6,000 degrees is quite obviously nothing more than Vindaloo. That explains the tremendous heat. Moving on out from the Vindaloo, we come to the next layer. This is chicken jalfrezi, a nice 2,800 degrees and very tasty. With the temperature continuing to drop, we move out from the chicken jalfrezi into the mild chicken korma, a very thick layer that anybody could cope with. Moving above this, we come to the asthenosphere. That's the old scientific name for what is actually mainly lime pickle, although there are elements of other condiments in there as well. On top of the pickle, we have a very flexible layer. It's naan. It's not entirely clear at this time if it's plain naan, garlic naan, or perhaps Peshwari naan. Studies still continue into this. Above this, we have a very rigid layer that many people know as the crust. It's so brittle it can crack and shatter, giving us quakes. It's actually made up of poppadoms. Over many millions of years, the broken pieces of poppadoms will shift around in a process called poppadom tectonics. They can be subducted down into the earth in some places, and in other places they're thrust upwards to form mountains, which are actually made of samosas. Now, this new sensible science of culinary geology is obviously still very new, although I believe it's gaining acceptance quite quickly, and I hope to receive the Nobel Prize for dining out quite shortly. And if nothing else, it's the tastiest scientific theory around. Meanwhile, Flatzoid FE, I believe you're about to be arrested for misspelling Curie point as Curry point.
Diplomatic community.
It's just been revoked.
Until next time, everybody, stay sensible.
Shut up and sit down.